here's a name you'll remember mainly because it's so hard to pronounce. Fausto Pichardo. He is the city's crime consultant, a former high-level cop with the New York Police Department. He's been hired by Memphis to help us solve our city's crime problem. And the Daily Memphians, Sam Hardiman, out with the story this week, with the first interview with Mr. Pichardo about the Memphis crime situation. And I just thought it was interesting, his perspective. He said, I think Memphians are extremely, extremely hard on themselves because I see here, I've witnessed here what a tremendous city this is, and maybe it's me, but I feel safe everywhere I walk around. And he went on to say, I think the groundwork that's being put in now, the investments that are being put out, public and private sector alike, localized first and then statewide and federal funding is just tremendous, and that's going to pay dividends for years to come, even going on to say he wouldn't be surprised to see a 40% reduction in the murder rate in the next 5 to 10 years. It just made me think maybe we are too hard on ourselves. Otis, you first. What's your take?
Absolutely, I agree with him. We are too hard on ourselves. We get mad and complain and fuss about everything, from crime to sports. We're just fighting all the time.
That's so true.
Those of us who have lived in other cities, like you have, like I have, we know that Memphis is not perfect. But no city is a utopia. I don't know of one. I lived in Detroit, Pittsburgh, Jackson, Mississippi. All of us have our problems. We are way too hard on ourselves, and we need to stop this and try to uplift our city rather than tear it down every chance we get.
The mayor's trying, Tawan.
I agree.
Every chance he gets, but it's a heavy lift, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a heavy lift, and I agree. And that's why I got too passionate about people trying to trash my school system too. I don't want to throw Memphis in the trash can. I want to see how we can continue to improve it. And it looks like to me leaders are moving in the right direction to reform public safety in Memphis.
It's a slow process. The thing is, though, the Memphis cynicism, particularly about crime, is understandable because every one of us at this table knows somebody whose car was broken into, or it may not be a major crime, but has been affected by it in the city.
I do think that two things can be true. It can be true that we do have a problem with crime. We have all been impacted by it, and that we speak too negatively about Memphis and the crime problem. I only moved to Memphis 7 years ago. I'm here because I love the city, because I want to be in this city, and I experienced just as much crime when I lived in Wichita, Kansas, personally, on a personal level, and it did not define my experience there. So there is something different that when people experience a crime here in Memphis, they do seem to let it really define, they let it define the city, they let it define themselves, and sometimes I understand that if it's something incredibly violent, but sometimes I don't understand that. I don't understand why your car getting broken into is going to define your entire view of a city.
And I'll be on my media soapbox for just a minute because that's something I feel very passionately about, like you do in schools. We are terrible about covering crime.
Absolutely.
And one of the reasons I work at this TV station is that we don't do crime all the time, and the city's self-image is going to eventually be impacted if all you do is show mugshots of people and show crime scene tape for the first 10 minutes of the news.
Right.
And it has an impact.
It's terrible. I've worked at 4 media outlets in this town, and I can definitely attest to what you're saying here. And it's up to the media to police itself better. But I do want to give a very brief shout out to Mayor Paul Young is addressing this issue. And bringing in, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but bringing him in and having him do the work that I see him doing is a big plus for the city. Shout out for Mayor Paul Young.
We're moving in the right direction, and that's what matters. And it should matter to you. To have a problem, do nothing, then you'll do nothing in the city.
Exactly.
But when you're moving in the right direction, that's all you can do.
All right, I'll let that be the final word. Thanks to my panel, and thank you to you at home. We'll see you next week for ABC24 This Week.